George Washington, 1789 to 1797. He was unaffiliated to any party and set the foundation of the U.S. presidency through integrity and national unity. John Adams, 1797 to 1801. A Federalist, he strengthened the new nation's institutions and faced challenges like the Alien and Sedition Acts. Thomas Jefferson, 1801 to 1809. A Democratic Republican, he completed the Louisiana Purchase and promoted agrarian democracy. James Madison, 1809 to 1817. A Democratic Republican, he led the nation during the War of 1812, asserting U.S. independence from Britain. James Monroe, 1817 to 1825. A Democratic Republican, he declared the Monroe Doctrine, asserting U.S. opposition to European colonialism. John Quincy Adams, 1825 to 1829. A Democratic Republican turned National Republican, he promoted modernization and education. Andrew Jackson, 1829 to 1837. A Democrat, he expanded executive power and implemented the controversial Indian Removal Act. Martin Van Buren, 1837 to 1841. A Democrat, he faced economic turmoil during the Panic of 1837. William Henry Harrison, 1841. A Whig, he served the shortest term in history, dying 1 month after taking office. John Tyler, 1841 to 1845. A Whig turned independent, he annexed Texas and often clashed with Congress. James K. Polk, 1845 to 1849. A Democrat, he expanded U.S. territory through the Mexican-American War. Zachary Taylor, 1849 to 1850. A Whig, he was a war hero who died suddenly after only 16 months in office. Millard Fillmore, 1850 to 1853. A Whig, he supported the Compromise of 1850 in an attempt to ease sectional tensions. Franklin Pierce, 1853 to 1857. A Democrat, his presidency was marred by the divisive Kansas-Nebraska Act. James Buchanan, 1857 to 1861. A Democrat, he failed to prevent the secession crisis that led to the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln, 1861 to 1865. A Republican, he preserved the Union during the Civil War and abolished slavery before his assassination. Andrew Johnson, 1865 to 1869. A Democrat on a Union ticket, he clashed with Congress over Reconstruction policies. Ulysses S. Grant, 1869 to 1877. A Republican, he led efforts to stabilize the post-war nation and enforce civil rights. Rutherford B. Hayes, 1877 to 1881. A Republican, he ended Reconstruction and reformed the civil service. James A. Garfield, 1881. A Republican, he promoted civil service reform before being assassinated early in his term. Chester A. Arthur, 1881 to 1885. A Republican, he advanced civil service reform through the Pendleton Act. Grover Cleveland, 1885 to 1889. A Democrat, he fought political corruption and served as a reformer. Benjamin Harrison, 1889 to 1893. A Republican, he supported tariffs and modernized the Navy. Grover Cleveland, 1893 to 1897. Returning as the only president to serve non-consecutive terms, he faced economic depression. William McKinley, 1897 to 1901. A Republican, he led the U.S. to victory in the Spanish-American War before being assassinated. Theodore Roosevelt, 1901 to 1909. A Republican, he championed progressive reforms and expanded America's global influence. William Howard Taft, 1909 to 1913. A Republican, he focused on trust-busting and judicial reform. Woodrow Wilson, 1913 to 1921. A Democrat, he led the U.S. through World War I and proposed the League of Nations. Warren G. Harding, 1921 to 1923. A Republican, his presidency was overshadowed by scandals despite promises of normalcy. Calvin Coolidge, 1923 to 1929. A Republican, he championed small government and economic prosperity. Herbert Hoover, 1929 to 1933. A Republican, his term was dominated by the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt, 1933 to 1945. A Democrat, he led the U.S. through the Great Depression and World War II with the New Deal. Harry S. Truman, 1945 to 1953. A Democrat, he ended World War II and launched the Marshall Plan. Dwight D. Eisenhower, 1953 to 1961. A Republican, he strengthened NATO and oversaw post-war economic expansion. John F. Kennedy, 1961 to 1963. A Democrat, he inspired a new generation before being assassinated during his presidency. Lyndon B. Johnson, 1963 to 1969. A Democrat, he advanced civil rights and escalated U.S. involvement in Vietnam. Richard Nixon, 1969 to 1974. A Republican, he opened relations with China but resigned after the Watergate scandal. Gerald Ford, 1974 to 1977. A Republican, he sought to heal the nation after Watergate and pardoned Nixon. Jimmy Carter, 1977 to 1981. A Democrat, he emphasized human rights and faced the Iran hostage crisis. Ronald Reagan, 1981 to 1989. A Republican, he revitalized the economy and played a major role in ending the Cold War. George H.W. Bush, 1989 to 1993. A Republican, he led the U.S. during the Gulf War and oversaw the Cold War's end. Bill Clinton, 1993 to 2001. A Democrat, he presided over economic prosperity but was impeached and later acquitted. George W. Bush, 2001 to 2009. A Republican, he led the U.S. through 9/11 and initiated wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Barack Obama, 2009 to 2017. A Democrat, he implemented the Affordable Care Act and led recovery from the financial crisis. Donald J. Trump, 2017 to 2021. A Republican, he pursued America First policies and faced 2 impeachments. Joseph R. Biden Jr., 2021 to 2025. A Democrat, he emphasized unity, pandemic recovery, and rebuilding international alliances. Donald J. Trump, 2025 to present. A Republican, he returned to office pledging to restore national strength and economic revival.